What if your decisions affected every generation that followed? Eve was the first woman, the first wife, the first mother, and one of the most influential people in all of human history. Her story begins in a perfect garden, but it quickly becomes a story of temptation, loss, hope, and redemption. From her creation in Eden, to the first promise of a savior, to the heartbreak of humanity's first family tragedy, Eve's story shaped the future of the world. This is the story of Eve. 1. What if you were the very first woman on earth? Before Eve, Adam was alone. God looked at his creation and said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. Then he took one of Adam's ribs and formed a woman. When Adam saw her, he was filled with joy. For the first time, humanity existed as a family. In Genesis 2, Eve became the first woman and the mother of all humanity. Eve reminds us that people were created for relationship, companionship, and God's purpose. 2. What if one choice could change the entire future of humanity? In the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam and Eve everything they needed. But there was one command: do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Then the serpent appeared. He questioned God's words and tempted Eve. The fruit looked desirable, so Eve ate it and gave some to Adam. In that moment, sin entered the world. The perfect relationship between humanity and God was broken. Eve's story reminds us that even small acts of disobedience can have life-changing consequences. 3. Did you know the first prophecy about Jesus appears in the Garden of Eden? After Adam and Eve sinned, everything changed. Sin entered the world. Paradise was lost. But God didn't leave humanity without hope. As he spoke to the serpent, God made an incredible promise. One day, a descendant of the woman would crush the serpent's head. Christians have long understood this as the first prophecy pointing to Jesus Christ. In Genesis 3, hope appeared in the middle of humanity's darkest moment. Eve reminds us that God's plan for redemption began from the very beginning. 4. What if every family on earth could trace its story back to one woman? After leaving the Garden of Eden, Adam gave his wife a new name, Eve. The name means living. Why? Because she would become the mother of all humanity. Soon, Eve gave birth to Cain and later Abel. From that first family, generations began to spread across the earth. Though Eve's story included failure and heartbreak, it also included hope and new beginnings. In Genesis 3 and 4, Eve became the mother of all living. Eve reminds us that God can bring new beginnings even after life's greatest setbacks. 5. Imagine being the first mother and experiencing the world's first family tragedy. Eve gave birth to 2 sons, Cain and Abel. At first, everything seemed normal, but jealousy began to grow in Cain's heart. When God accepted Abel's offering but rejected Cain's, anger took control. Cain lured his brother into a field and killed him. It was the first murder in human history. For Eve, the joy of motherhood became heartbreak. In Genesis 4, sin's consequences reached the first family. Eve reminds us that unchecked jealousy can destroy even the relationships closest to us. Eve was the first woman, the first wife, the first mother, and one of the most influential figures in biblical history. Her story includes creation, temptation, failure, hope, and redemption. But above all, it reveals a God who continued his plan even after humanity's greatest mistake. Because from the very beginning, God was already preparing a way to restore what had been lost. Like, subscribe, and follow for more Bible stories and biblical history.